ingin memberikan bukti bahwa uang kertas adalah ilmu sihir. Bahwa hari ini kita hidup di bawah ilmu sihir, seperti halnya rakyat Fir'aun dulu hidup di bawah sihir para Fir'aun yang menjadikan tali sebagai ular. Dan karena itu kita perlu tahu dari mana datangnya ilmu sihir itu, supaya kita mengerti dan kenapa kita harus kembali kepada emas dan perak. Kalau dulu emas dan perak itu adanya di kantong-kantong masyarakat, di dompet kita. Sekarang kalau Anda buka, apa isi dompetnya? Ilmu sihir. Ilmu sihir. Apapun namanya, mau disebut dolar, mau disebut pound sterling, mau disebut guilders, mau disebut real, mau disebut rupiah, semua adalah koin emas atau perak. Emas atau perak.
You are about to learn one of the biggest secrets in the history of the world. It's a secret that has huge effects for everyone who lives on this planet. I want you to know about this, as this system is what has kept them at the top of the financial food chain for the last 100 years. Learning this will change your life because it'll change the choices that you make. If enough people learn it, it'll change the world because it'll change the system. For this is the biggest hidden secret of money. Never in human history have so many been plundered by so few, and it's all accomplished through this, the biggest scam in the history of mankind.
Jadi secara real, uang 100.000 ini dulu ketika Pak Harto masih berkuasa menjelang jatuh itu, kalau dibelikan telur dapat 50 kilo. Masih ada yang ingat gak, Bu? Kali ibu-ibu ingat pasti. 1 kilo telur harganya Rp2.000. Begitu Pak Harto jatuh, dibilang ini gara-gara Krismon, uangnya sama, walaupun ini belum ada waktu itu, karena ini masih 50.000 aja udah besar waktu itu. Uang yang sama dengan telur yang sama, tiba-tiba dibawa ke pasar, saya mau beli telur. Bu, hari ini tidak dapat 50 kilo lagi, hari ini cuma dapat 13 kilo. Karena daya belinya telur sekarang 7.500. Dan hari ini kalau di pasar Ternate berapa, Bu, harga telur sekilo? Hari ini di Jakarta 20.000. Dan telurnya sama, 1 kilo itu isinya 16 butir, 17 butir, 18 butir, uangnya sama. Tapi hari ini kalau dibelikan telur hanya dapat 5 kilo. Kemana yang 45 kilo? Itu yang mereka rampok. Itu yang mereka rampok dengan melalui apa yang mereka sebut inflasi. Tapi sebenarnya dengan cara penggelembungan uang kertas yang terus-menerus di nilai. Nah, satu lagi Pak ya, saya minta ini karena ini penting sekali. Ini penting sekali. Nah, sistem zalim ini kemudian difikskan dalam satu sistem politik yang disebut nation state pada level global, kan judulnya kan globalisasi uang. Jadi negara bangsa itu diciptakan oleh para bankir pada abad ke-20. Jadi waktu Indonesia merdeka, Singapura merdeka, Malaysia merdeka, Afrika merdeka, itu bukan kemerdekaan spontan, tapi didesain. Didesain karena kalau dulu mereka mau merampas cengkeh orang Ternate, mau merampas kepala orang Ternate, dia harus bawa serdadu ke sini, dia harus ambil cengkeh dan kepalanya, repot kan? Maka dengan menciptakan uang kertas, mereka tetap bisa mengambil cengkeh orang Ternate, mengambil kepala orang Ternate tanpa harus kirim serdadu di sini. Dan karena itu saya kasih merdeka. Tapi satu mesti bikin bank sentral, kedua pakai uang kertas, supaya saya tetap bisa membeli 1 barel minyak Anda dengan harga 4 sen dolar. Karena mencetak uang ini biayanya hanya 4 sen, 500 rupiah. Jadi banking is crime and bankers are the criminal. Dengan sihir ini. Ya. Lalu dulu mereka tanya, jadi bagaimana saya membuat APBN? Jangan khawatir, sekolah kan anak-anak pintar kamu ke Berkeley, ke Chicago, ke Harvard. Mereka dididik untuk membuat pembangunan. Lalu dikasih paket hutang dan diajari kalau nggak bisa kirim konsultan seperti John Perkins dan sejenisnya. Lalu ada satu pertanyaan, bagaimana kami membayar hutang kami kalau begitu? Mereka bilang, you punya 200 juta rakyat, pajaki rakyat kalian. Pajaki rakyat kalian. Kalian punya kepala, punya cengkeh, habisi hutang kalian. Karena you membayar hutang, kalau kita hutang 5 miliar dolar setiap tahun, apa mereka kasih berkoper-koper dolar? Apa yang mereka kasih ke kita? Mereka hanya mengetik di komputer 5 miliar dolar, ting, masuk ke Bank Indonesia. Nanti Bank Indonesia tinggal kirim ting ke Bappenas, Bappenas ting ke departemen itu. Tapi ketika kita mau membayar hutang mereka, bisa kita mengetik di komputer 5 miliar dolar, ting, dibiarkan ke bank dunia. Nggak bisa, you mesti punya devisa. Dari mana kami punya devisa? You mesti beli dolar kami. Caranya tebang hutan kalian, habisi boksit kalian, habisi mineral kalian. Betul nggak? Nah, jadi itulah yang terjadi di dalam sistem Fir'aun sekarang ini, bahwa pemerintah itu didesain hanya untuk mengambil hutang dari bank, menghabiskan melalui APBN dan proyek, kemudian memajaki rakyat. Karena itu pajak semakin hari semakin tinggi, semakin banyak, semakin tinggi, semakin banyak. Gitu. Nah, jadi kalau digambarkan seperti ini, ya kan? Wilayah domestik nasional itu adalah demokrasi. Supaya kalau 5 tahun harus ganti. Kalau ada presiden, ada perdana menteri yang tidak nurut pada para bankir, out. Tapi para bankir tidak pernah berganti, mereka turun-temurun, perusahaan swasta, anak beranak pinak. Ini kira-kira hanya 400 keluarga di dunia ini yang menguasai seluruh sistem keuangan dan politik.
I hope that I've been enlightening today in showing you how the Zio matrix of power functions, how it works. Media, government, finance, each part helping and assisting the other part.
This is not a time right now to wishful thinking the government is going to sort things out. The governments don't rule the world. Goldman Sachs rules the world.
Whoever creates money controls it.
Now let's take a look at the role of the Rothschild family, the family said to be the wealthiest in the world.
Money is the god of our time, and Rothschild is his prophet.
The Federal Reserve is committing fraud. The Federal Reserve is committing fraud. The Federal Reserve is committing fraud, where the system begins to rob you and I on a massive scale. Rob you and I on a massive scale. But worst of all, it is a form of enslavement. Bond is the root word of bondage.
JP Morgan. This is a form of price propaganda. This is a form of financial terrorism. Jamie Dimon, CEO of JP Morgan, by propagating this form of financial terrorism, is by definition a financial terrorist. Who are these American financial terrorists, and why are they being allowed to roam the world and cause their destruction? Why can't someone put them in jail? Arrest them! Jamie Dimon in cuffs!
This system is fundamentally evil. This system is fundamentally evil.
The Federal Reserve is a strange creature. There's nothing quite like it out there. Most people think that it is a government agency, that the Federal Reserve System is a cartel. It's a cartel, no different really than a sugar cartel or an oil cartel or a bean cartel. Happens to be a banking cartel. And that means that it is private.
In 1694, the Bank of England was established. By 1815, with the Battle of Waterloo, the Rothschilds gained dominant control. It was the original Federal Reserve. Same Jewish proprietorship, same swindle. Both today are safely in Jewish hands. They had a secret. The final Jewish secret is to start wars and run up huge government debt to them. Makes you a slave, the Jewish bankers. In 1913, the Jews bribed U.S. officials to set up the Federal Reserve to borrow fiat money from them, which we could have created ourselves for nothing. It's the biggest scam on earth.
So I think an explanation and diagrams to show it is very helpful, because quite frankly they're not going to get it in their grade school, they're not going to get it in their high school, they're not going to get it in college unless they're in a very rare circumstance to understand how this works.
One of the problems with gold is people just don't understand it. I mean, for one thing, it's sort of been banished from the curriculum for 35 years. We have going on 2 generations of academics and scholars who have never studied gold.
Differences are very important, and they're never discussed by any economist in the United States. The Federal Reserve Bank is a central bank.
A central bank, this is not taught in any economics class in the United States or in the world. A central bank is a bank of issue, which has the right to print all the money it wants. You can print all the money you want. There's no control over it whatsoever. That means that any merchant who accepts a Federal Reserve dollar says, I believe that this is a real dollar. That's all there is to it. It's still a piece of green paper, which is worth what any green paper is. You can figure yourself. You can take a sheet of green paper and you can clip out $800, $100 bills.
But what they did after they colonized us was to bring in their bogus and fraudulent money, paper money. What's the value of a paper currency, paper note? The value of one piece of paper is equivalent to another piece of paper. Full stop. You don't need a PhD in mathematics for that. Huh? Now how can you tell me that this piece of paper has the value of roti canai? I can't understand that. And that other piece of paper, you just change the color and put a number, and that piece of paper has the value of a BMW. Do I look like someone with the brains of a donkey? Huh? You just have to change the color and change the number on it. Huh? And you can change the value of the piece of paper. Are you a magician? And if anyone wants to challenge me, do please remember, I have studied international monetary economics. I've done it at 2 universities, so I do have some knowledge of what I'm talking about. That's where your paper money is today. When you could print a US dollar and take it anywhere in the world, and you can buy whatever you want. Yeah. So long as the donkeys accept the paper, you could buy all the oil of Saudi Arabia free of charge. All that you need is paper and ink and a printing press. This is where the Ummah of Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam is today. All that you need is paper and ink and a printing press. Because the scholars of Islam do not understand monetary economics. Because the institutions of learning don't teach the subject. And yet they give fatwa. And yet they give fatwa, defending it. When we print our paper, and you take a basket full of Bangladeshi taka to Midtown Manhattan, you can't even buy a cup of coffee. Nobody wants it. So you have a system of ripping off the rest of the world, and you becoming richer and richer and richer and richer, while Indonesia becomes poorer and poorer and poorer and poorer. A financial system is a den of thieves.
At the international level, central bankers use the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund to make more money while exploiting the resources of countries they lend to, bankrupting them in the process. The central bank of central banks is the Rothschild-created Bank for International Settlements. The elite are positioning themselves to control access to virtually everything we need to survive.
No matter where you go in the world, the money is controlled by the banking system. they decide if people eat or if they don't eat. Who's a billionaire and who lives on less than $1 a day? He who controls the money controls the world, and a very few control the money.
At this point, my view of the world had been turned upside down. I was struggling with the realization that the failure and suffering of so many is actually success and fulfillment for a few. The elite central bankers who fooled the world into letting them create money. They already have vast fortunes, so what is their end game? What is their ultimate agenda? Under this fractional reserve scheme, we inevitably become debt slaves to a ruling class of financial elite, not because they are better or smarter than anyone else, but because they have rigged the system to benefit themselves at the expense of most people on the planet. Catherine Austin Fitts is an expert on this issue. She was an Assistant Secretary of Housing and Urban Development under President George Bush Sr., and then an advisor to the Clinton administration.
Let's set up a game of Monopoly and you want to buy Park Place. What I can continually do is just print money, give myself more money, lower the value of your money by printing more. No matter how hardworking you are or how successful you are, I can always end up buying you for free.
So how come if you or I make up money, it's called counterfeiting, but if the banks do it, it's increasing the money supply? How did the banks get this power? This is Jekyll Island, where in 1910, representatives from the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Morgans, and other private bankers gathered, secretly, to draft the legislation that would create the Federal Reserve. Ed Griffin literally wrote the book on what happened at Jekyll Island.
Central banks are banking cartels which have gone into partnership with the respective governments in the countries where they operate. And they've been given monopolistic power over the creation of the nation's money supply. That's what the politicians handed to them as a gift, you might say, for the partnership. Now, in return, what did the bankers do for the politicians? They promised to create money out of nothing, now that they've got this legal power to do it anytime the government needs it.
And since 2008, we've witnessed the greatest fake money printing run in recorded history. This financial sleight of hand disguises the costs, hides who's to blame, and leaves us as debt slaves working to pay off the bill. I found it revealing that in the same year the Federal Reserve was founded, 1913, the Internal Revenue Service was also established. An income tax was then instigated so you and I would have to pay the politicians' debt plus interest to the bankers.
The problem is we have a privately owned central bank system in the United States disguised as a government-owned system. Now, if you look in the telephone book here in the Washington, D.C. area, you look up for Federal Reserve in the blue government pages, it's not there. It's in the white pages right next to Federal Express. It's a privately owned central bank.
What is the proper relationship, what should be the proper relationship between a chairman of the Fed and a president of the United States?
Well, first of all, the Federal Reserve is an independent agency, and that means basically that there is no other agency of government which can overrule actions that we take. Other agency of government which can overrule actions that we take. Other agency of government which can overrule actions that we take.
Jadi waktu Republik Indonesia ini merdeka, hutang kita 0. Hari ini hutang kita 4.000 triliun. Bisa kebayar, Bu? Nggak akan bisa kebayar. Jadi kenapa hidup kita makin hari makin susah, makin berat, makin mahal? Karena itu. Jadi riba itu sudah menjadi sistem yang kemudian kita dipaksa untuk ikut terlibat di dalamnya. Nah, ini saya tidak akan ceritakan secara detail, tapi saya ingin ambil poinnya bahwa di tangan para bankirlah sistem kehidupan ini dibuat gitu. Jadi dulu kita hidup merdeka menggunakan mata uang emas dan perak, dinar dan dirham, kemudian dirubah menjadi kertas. Nah, kemana emasnya? Emasnya mereka ambil, mereka lebur, mereka timbun di berangkas-berangkas mereka. Lalu pada kita diberikan berlembar-lembar kertas. Mereka bilang kertas itu sama dengan emas. Buktinya bisa buat jual beli, bisa buat utang piutang. Tapi yang tidak dia ceritakan pada kita adalah waktu Indonesia merdeka, kita nggak punya uang 1.000 rupiah, Bu. Karena harga emas hanya 2 rupiah per gram. Kalau ibu punya 1.000 rupiah berarti sudah punya setengah kilogram emas. Betul nggak? Hari ini 1 gram emas 500.000 rupiah. Jadi kalau punya uang 1.000 rupiah, anak saya aja udah nggak mau dikasih uang 1.000 rupiah. Tukang parkir dilempar dikasih 1.000 rupiah. Betul nggak? Gitu. Nah, jadi 70 tahun Indonesia merdeka dengan sistem riba ini hanya membuat kita 250.000 kali lebih miskin. 250.000 kali lebih miskin. 250.000 kali lebih miskin.
Had it been Malcolm would have asked, who took my money? And how did they take it? And then it would have become clear that my loss was somebody else's gain. Let me repeat that. When my money could no longer buy a camel, it could only buy a donkey. The value of my labor has been diminished by half. My loss was somebody else's gain. Five years later, when I take it out, can't buy a donkey anymore. Can only buy a goat now. And so my 1 month has now been diminished to 1 week. If this keeps on going on, I'm going to be enslaved. A new slavery will come upon the world if this keeps on going on like this. Surely it was time for the Ummah of Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam to stop fighting amongst themselves over popcorn. Because that's what they're doing. Fighting over popcorn. While this massive betrayal of Islam is taking place and we are blissfully ignorant of it. That's the price we pay when we only have scholarship but no news. 5 years later, when you take out that money, can't buy a goat anymore. You only buy chicken and chips. That's where Indonesia is now. That is where Indonesia is now, chicken and chips. That's where Turkey is now, chicken and chips. Yes. And still we're fighting over popcorn. If you're 17 years of age tonight, son and daughter, this lecture is for you. They've been fighting over popcorn while the slavery has come upon us.
Akibat dari sistem uang kertas. Nah, jadi kalau kita lanjutkan, itulah yang kata Nabi tadi, kamu akan temukan waktu di mana tidak ada satu orang pun tidak makan riba, karena kita semua dipaksa pakai ini. Nah, yang perlu kita pahami adalah akibatnya. Ya, apa akibat dari perubahan? Jadi dulu uang itu adalah emas atau perak, karena kita diberi kebebasan memilih. Kemudian para pandai emas mengatakan, nah ini cikal bakal uang kertas nih Bu. Dari mana datangnya uang kertas? Mereka bilang bahwa emas, bahwa perak itu nggak aman. Titipkan pada saya. Titipkan pada saya. Mereka berikan kwitansi bahwa si fulan menitipkan pada saya 1 koin emas. Jadi banyak, merah, kuning, hijau, biru, tergantung siapa yang mengeluarkan kwitansi itu. Nah, lalu dalam satu masa mereka monopoli. Hanya satu pihak yang diberi izin untuk mengeluarkan kwitansi, yaitu bank sentral. Kalau ada orang lain mengeluarkan kwitansi, dianggap memalsukan uang. Lalu imbalannya apa? Kata mereka, you perlu uang berapapun saya kasih dalam bentuk utang. Nah, jadi munculnya bank sentral itu bersamaan dengan munculnya apa yang dikenal sebagai hutang negara. Jadi terjadi perubahan. Hutang itu dulu adalah urusan pribadi orang-orang. Saya berhutang pada Mas Einstein, urusan saya berdua. Hari ini negara hutang pada bank. Kita semua suruh jadi agunan. Kita semua suruh jadi agunan. Kita semua suruh jadi agunan. Waktu Indonesia merdeka, harga emas hanya Rp2 per gram. Kalau ibu punya Rp1.000, berarti sudah punya setengah kilogram emas. Betul nggak? Hari ini 1 gram emas Rp500.000. Jadi 70 tahun Indonesia merdeka dengan sistem riba ini hanya membuat kita 250.000 kali lebih miskin. 250.000 kali lebih miskin. 250.000 kali lebih miskin. 250.000 kali lebih miskin. 250.000 kali lebih miskin.
What are we headed for? When you look at the current trajectory that we're on, it doesn't make any sense at all if you evaluate it based on what we're taught in school. And it doesn't make any sense if you base your worldview on the propaganda that the mainstream media tries to pass off as news. But it makes perfect sense once you know the real motives of the powers that be. In order to understand those motives, we first have to take a look at history. In 1945, the Bretton Woods Agreement established the dollar as the world reserve currency, which meant that international commodities were priced in dollars. The agreement, which gave the United States a distinct financial advantage, was made under the condition that those dollars would remain redeemable for gold at a consistent rate of $35 per ounce. The United States promised not to print very much money, but this was on the honor system, because the Federal Reserve refused to allow any audits or supervision of its printing presses. In the years leading up to 1970, expenditures in the Vietnam War made it clear to many countries that the US was printing far more money than it had in gold. And in response, they began to ask for their gold back. This, of course, set off a rapid decline in the value of the dollar. The situation climaxed in 1971 when France attempted to withdraw its gold and Nixon refused. On August 15th, he made the following announcement.
I have directed the Secretary of the Treasury to take the action necessary to defend the dollar against the speculators. I have directed Secretary Connally to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold or other reserve assets, except in amounts and conditions determined to be in the interest of monetary stability and in the best interest of the United States.
This was obviously not a temporary suspension, as he claimed, but rather a permanent default. And for the rest of the world who had entrusted the United States with their gold, it was outright theft. It was outright theft. It was outright theft.
Gold and silver is God's money. It's money made by God. And then in 1971, the U.S. government under President Nixon took God's money and turned it into man-made money. Never in the history of the world has this ever happened. In 1971, the U.S. and Nixon convinced the entire world to replace gold and silver with paper money. This stuff. Cash is trash. Cash is trash. Cash is trash. Every time they have taken God's money, like silver here, and replaced it with man-made money, there's been economic volatility. Now the problem is, so the dollar is going to keep dropping. So one of the reasons I can predict what's going to happen is I can predict the dollar will keep dropping simply because the U.S. government and now the Euro, the European Central Banks, are printing so much of this trash. So you'll see gold going up in price, oil going up in price, real estate going up in price, because this is trash. Because this is trash. Because this is trash.